Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Overwatch League. Thanks for joining us so far. This next matchup still promises to be quite the exciting one because we've got two teams on the salty run back from early exits from the May Melee, Matthew.
Yeah.
It's the Atlanta Reign and the Los Angeles Gladiators.
They're about in the same spot. I think we had higher hopes for Atlanta than the Gladiators going into the season, but we haven't really seen either of them live up to the potential we had originally thought, where I know the Gladiators are a very strong team throughout Season 1 and 2 of the Overwatch League. They make a ton of changes, though, coming into Season 3. You still like their roster on paper. But Atlanta was the one we thought would really kind of be much higher in the ratings than they are. We thought they'd be like top 3, top 4. Right now they sit at 500 at 5-5.
Yeah, I mean, and look, last month in the tournament, it was the Reign getting knocked out by the Florida Mayhem 3-1 in the quarterfinals. And for the Gladiators, they were knocked out by the Fusion 3-1. So both teams had a similar experience with how they sort of progressed through that bracket. But crucially, Atlanta, I know we've heard from them, they did not feel they were able to get a good read or at least get into a meta that they felt comfortable with. Now, in fairness, there were no hero pools in that particular last few matches, but they just could not find their feet.
And there wasn't a lot of time to prep for those no hero pools as well, right? Only a week in between. I think that'll be something where it'll be advantageous for them coming into the next playoffs here for the Summer Showdown. As we take a look at their starting 6, it'll be Baby Bay, Edison, Gator, Hawk, Dogman, and Masa. So with this, we don't see Urster yet again.
And maybe that the Reign is actually a team that benefits from hero pools in this regard, because now Echo is actually not available to be selected. She's not in the available hero pool. And as you can see, statistically, the Atlanta Reign performs slightly better without Echo. It might just been that kind of hero that they never really felt like they quite got onto. Now, they are running Edison in that DPS position, and he's often been in that role of playing Echo, and maybe he hasn't found his feet either. I can still hear people crying, asking where Urster is, and we don't know the answer to that, but at least this might suit the Reign a little better because they look good with Arista Sigma. Gator and Hawk combine very well on those two heroes.
Yes, I do think this is a hero pool as well that'll be fine for the Atlanta Reign, where they can play some Zenyatta, they can play the Baptiste, you can play some Lucio stuff if you would like, with Masa in the mix, and then also you can potentially run like an Ashe and Tracer or an Ashe and a Mei. So I do feel like this may be a pretty good 2 weeks for the Atlanta Reign.
Now, we're still seeing a lot of Zen Baptiste, so it's still possible to see, like Kodak being mixed in as he was previously, but as you can see, it'll be Master starting today, so I wonder what he'll be playing. But on the side of the Gladiators here, they're another team that, like we've already mentioned, didn't have the greatest of successes previously in the main melee, but with our changes to hero pools, we actually got to hear from Space and get some perspective on him about how now 2 weeks for the one rotation of heroes unavailable for selection affects teams and their preparation for their matches.
Okay, so I think the 2 weeks of hero pool is going to add a lot more in-depth strategy, since teams are going to be able to watch the VOD of their opponent, a lot more counter strategy and counter comps, so it's going to be really exciting to watch. And I think the 2 weeks of no hero pool is going to be like the most creative Overwatch we've seen this season, and just teams playing to their strengths and making the craziest comps possible, just to see what goes well.
A welcome change for the Gladiators, having more time to have a look at VODs, especially because their last 4 matches have put them in struggle city, Matt. Lost to Paris, then losing in 5 maps to the Uprising, not ideal. And then obviously losing to Philadelphia there to send them out of the main melee. They definitely need some good news.
Yeah, they've had a rough stretch in those games. But Boston, it seems like they're playing better. Philly's a tough loss as well. I think I had more confidence in Atlanta coming into the season, right? But then when I saw the Gladiators play at the beginning, I thought they had a very nice roster. I think OG in Space is a really good tank line. And then they've gone from somebody that I think a lot of people were big fans of, one of the better teams that we thought could be in North America, to now kind of middle of the pack. So it'd be nice to see if they can actually start to put some wins together.
And there's their starting lineup, of course, will be Mira and Birdring at DPS, OG in Space, Big Goose and Shaz. Now, here's the question. Do Mira and Birdring have the coverage to sort of provide the kind of DPS compositions that are required right now?
We're about to find out, right? As I think this is going to be, it's been the the sore spot, I think, for the Gladiators the whole season thus far is like their DPS, their flex DPS position, like whether it be Miro or Jaru, like how can they get the job done in some of these metas, especially now where it's gone towards more metas where you need two players who are pretty dominant in terms of like hit scan play, right? Whether it be like a Tracer and an Ashe, I know playing some other types of scenarios, or like a McCree and a Tracer, etc. We moved away from the Bay and a Reaper constantly 24/7. So how do they pick it up? I mean, maybe the Gladiators, they play something around like Mirror and Doofus, like no Brig in the pool, no Sombra, so there's not like a ton of great Duke counters, but still, it'll be interesting what the Gladiators have cooked up for this week.
Yeah, we're going to be heading into Ilios first, and quite the curious, I guess the most curious of all three maps here. It will be Well, and again, a map that is often catered to, plenty of Orisa-based play, but Wrecking Ball's also been more of an inclusion as of late. Defara is an option there as well, something we know that Mira and Edison are both very comfortable on.
Did you watch the Asian matches last night?
I did, or some before I went to bed.
Well, why don't they play Roadhog?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't mind a bit of Roadhog. One of my favorite custom game types is where 20 Roadhogs stand around the well and try and hook each other in. One of my favorites.
I have played that one.
Yeah, we played that one together while we were waiting in queue.
Yeah.
All right, well, it doesn't seem like that's going to be the pickup here, despite the we're continuing to see wacky developments out of the Asian region in compositions. It's going to be the Ashe and the Farah here for the Gladiators, and Edison will be on Tracer. See what he can do, as OG's already got himself behind enemy lines.
Yeah, the Gladiators are going to go and try and put a ton of pressure on Baby Bay with the Wrecking Ball and the Farah. It's just how do they deal with their own backline?
Yeah, they deny sightlines from Baby Bay to start with, so they try and give some more protection to the backline. Mira not really going to get bothered too much here. Can play around the top of the building, and Edison's already gone down though, so that's not ideal. Mira was really supposed to be setting up kills for Edison to finish off, but there's so much shielding, so much durability available there for the Atlanta Reign that the Gladiators have not struck blood in a timely enough manner. Dogman is down, and Space has found 2 kills now, and the Reign is starting to run out of options.
Yeah, just the pressure too much the Gladiators put on, right? As Space gets in, uses the kinetic grasp, speed up some of that damage there at the end, but we'll see if they decide to change and get something else to try and get Mirror out of the sky.
Yeah, it feels like, with Edison going down so early, Baby Bay just didn't have great angles. He definitely wasn't able to look at Mirror at all. The positioning for the Gladiators looks so good, and even though the Reign had like tons of durability, tons of shielding, Mirror didn't even have to get final blows because the rest of his team were doing the work and Sigma was in the mix. Good start for the Gladiators, already at 38% because that was a long fight, but they lose Mirror here to Hawk. Space looking a little bit worse for wear now as well, and OG was hit with the Discord orb and worked out.
It's a big kill on the Mirror. That's like the largest source of the damage for the Gladiators. Is you do get a res here on the OG. Maybe you can at least hold on to the point for a little bit longer if you're the Gladiators, but looks unlikely. So they have to back out. They still don't have enough players to keep it going. So Atlanta makes a little bit of a compositional change as Pertring just rips Edison's head off. Maybe a Bob back in. This could be a quick turn, but Atlanta switches Gator over to the Wrecking Ball, try and put more pressure of their own on.
I mean, Mirror in such a great spot for a barrage here. The Reign were too busy dealing with the threat of Bob and Ashe, and Pertring! Oh my! Baby Bay gets caught as he comes around the corner. Not quite as flashy as the kill on Edison, but still entirely satisfying to see. Pertring displaying damage in all modes of Ashe.
It's you're never worried about hit scan when it comes to Birdring, right? Birdring will always be able to play like your 76 McCree, Ashe, Widowmakers. He's put on the show here thus far. OG with the minefield here. You could drop like a Gravitic Flux into a minefield, right? Would be a big transcendence for Dogman potentially, right? Could save everybody who kind of comes down, has the low health, and clear mines with it.
All right, here's the minefield. Big Goose able to get away for the moment. Baby Bay trying to chase him down with the dynamite, but while Baby Bay's trying to deal with a Wayward Mercy, Edison and Master have both already fallen, and Mira was in a great position to clean Dogman up there. Again, the Reign really need to get the most out of Baby Bay on this particular round. They need to be quick kills like we were seeing from Birdring, headshots and all that kind of good stuff. Baby Bay's not been finding them at all. Fortunately for him, only one final blow to Mira's 6. Birdering's 4, more crucially.
It's much harder, though, for Baby Bay to play into this, as Edison gets 1. Dogman comes in with a Transcendence, so maybe this is doable for Atlanta, as Big Goose will get the res on the Mirror, bring him back into the fight.
That's a gigantic resurrect. That initial damage from the Atlanta Rain now pretty much gets negated with the Pharah now back into the sky. Shaz is down the pit, but the Rain were not in position to move up to the point. And a very quiet round for Atlanta there. Don't get much value out of that Ashe.
So it's much easier, though, for the Gladiators, specifically Birdring, to deal with it than, let's say, Baby Bay. Baby Bay's dealing with the Pharah in the sky, the Wrecking Ball diving down, and then also Big U's playing the Mercy, right? So many difficult targets to be able to deal with, and then also the healing there to heal those mobile targets, which makes it very difficult for Baby Bay.
Hawk even trying a bit of Reinhardt at the end there, which is... It never feels good playing that against Wrecking Ball, especially on Well. It's just, we don't see much Reinhardt on that map at all in general. So, still the Ashe pick for Baby Bay. Birdring now goes to the Widowmakers. Clearly feels confident enough that he can get a ton of value out of playing a bit more long range. Must be feeling himself after that first round on Ashe, and I would be too. That was quite astonishing, some of those plays.
Yeah, it's like
Anderson
maybe
is still a tracer.
It's like maybe he feels like that Baby Bay's gonna peek this predictable angle up top, but nice headshot. Gets a headshot there on a Gator, takes him like 50% HP. The one thing that the Widow has, I would say, a slight advantage of here is that like the Widow can access points rather quickly that the Tracer cannot. Like, look at this angle that Birdring's at. Like, Tracer can't really harass up there. There's nothing that the Edison can do against him.
Yeah, the Gladiators are trying to force the range to disperse, force their players to get away from shields and then be sort of vulnerable to Birdring especially. That's why Shaz is playing so far away from his tanks up on that high ground. But it doesn't quite work. They lose OG earlier on, but with Edison down, there might be an option now. No one's going to get harassed by the Tracer, so it's going to be up to Baby Bay. Birdring wins against Baby Bay in the head-to-head at long range.
And look at how many shots that Birdring is able to put into Gator. He basically takes him down to 0 HP. His teammates clean him up. And this will be the point for the Gladiators, is the positioning there from Shaz and Birdring in spots that they cannot be harassed by the Tracer. The Tracer also can't really do anything to the Pharah Mercy up in the sky, so really just trying to pump damage into the tanks. As long as you keep them up for the Gladiators, you're in a good spot to win that drawn-out fight.
If you've been following, it's the same problem that the Florida Mayhem had on the Temple of Anubis. They can't really get value out of this Tracer. Birdring will never be harassed by that Tracer unless there's a double dash across the gap, and Baby Bay has a gap put right between his eyes. Ramirez down, but Birdring's still in position. The shields might be an issue now, so there does need to be set up here with, you know, space using accretion to stun people out of it. Edison now is in a good position to work space down. Birdring gets rid of Gator though, so Holt's now off the table. But Edison was able to move to the point now, and Birdring isn't well set up to contest because he's playing from that high ground, so he has to wait for reinforcements, and they have arrived.
Yeah, Mira comes back on the Tracer, takes out Hog. Nice pulse spam there from Edison. Are there enough players here for Atlanta besides Edison to keep this fighting? It doesn't look like it. That'll be a flip in favor of the Gliders. Dogman comes in with a late Transcendence, and a Bob comes in from Baby Bay, so gonna have a flip right back. As it's quite interesting. This points felt like it's gone on forever at this moment in the game, but we're only 30% for each team.
Atlanta used quite a lot there. They also lost the Transcendence, but Dogman, what a great setup there with the Amplification Matrix to take Birdring's head off. Probably didn't really need it. That's a Widowmaker, but still, we'll take it. Dogman now getting covered, but Birdring's brought back into the fight. The Wrecking Ball of OG looking a little low here, and the Gladiators really need to get Birdring firing now. Play off the point, try and find some of those headshots. Hawk now, accretion finds OG. Edison enabling him to finish off the kill, and Big Goose off the edge. The Gladiators might have to switch something up here.
Yeah, so Baby Bay also makes a change over to 76. I do agree with you. I think the Gladiators, it's about time to change something up. Is Big Goose will move away from Mercy. He'll play Ana here. Does that force any of your other players to change? Maybe Baby Bay going to go back and play an Ashe. Birdring will play an Ashe. So we get to see Mira on the Tracer for an extended period of time. Which I think if Tracer's gonna be a mainstay in a lot of maps in this meta, he's going to have to be able to pick it up and play it well. And as I say that, he gets discorded and one flip there by Edison.
He has been looking good though, in fairness. 11 final blows and 7 deaths for Mira so far. The Rain now fight back into this one comfortably with Dogman playing from a safe distance, and Gator now is going to go spot out OG. He knows he's there. And this is frustrating for OG, who was trying to help set up an overtime situation. Now may not have an opportunity to do so. There's the Tracer from Mirrors also stepping up, and Dogman meets him at the door with some orbs. OG rolls on through the point here with the Discord, but close to a minefield, which could be good if he can get some height to him now. Rolls through, drops the mine. He's down. Transcendence here for Dogman, but it doesn't save Master against the burst damage from the minefield. Still, it's enough time for the Rain to hold on to the point, and the Gladiators are staved off.
You know, another second, though, as Space comes around that corner, kills one. They still have Shaz and Birdring. Like, the Gladiators may have been able to flip that, but Atlanta hangs on in the end. It's 2 deaths from Mirror right at the beginning of fights, before they really even kicked off. Doesn't end up costing them, but still, having your Tracer alive to just harass in those type of situations is exactly what you need, what you want. You didn't have it either of those fights. Baby Bay, you know, ruins Ilios. It's an insta-lock on the Widowmaker regardless of what compositions everybody's playing. I expect Birdring to play the Widow as well.
Or do the Gladiators now with this Reinhardt in tow go for a Tracer Reaper setup? Sorry, a Reaper May setup. I do wonder. Obviously, just, the TP and then the switch to the Widowmaker now. So, Birdring gets the matchup he wants, and Babybay's the kind of player that's never going to shy away from this kind of challenge. By now, both of these players are veterans. They've been around. And it will be Tracer here for Edison. So we'll see what he does. We'll see. I mean, it's going to be tough for Edison to access Birdring again. We'll reference the verticality of this map. That doesn't make it much easier either. Birdring catches him on the way through.
Now you'll have point control, which it's exactly what you needed for the Gladiators too, because you're playing the May in this type of situation. You want to force them to come to you. This Baby Bay, though, gets Shaz, so you don't have that immortality field, but, well, neither will Atlanta as Masa falls, but...
Oh, you are asking for it.
Being allowed, though, to push forward there for the Gladiators in that type of situation, like after you get a pick or two, it's big because then OGs are getting down big damage with the Reinhardt.
OG now probably feels pretty good up against the Orisa because the Gladiators, they have a Lucio. We haven't actually seen a ton of Lucio. Yep. Of course, the environmental kill potential on this map always makes it viable, but it's being able to speed your Reinhardt past that Orisa barrier, avoid accretion and such, and then
you also have the May to help you as like a barrier to either get out of harm's way or to be able to get one opponent stuck in the opposite side, like the front side of Reinhardt. They get a very easy target for the Reinhardt to swing on.
You see the Gladiators don't look as good when they're at range. They want to close the gap as much as they possibly can now. The Gator has an immortality field that's now been removed. Oh, Masa couldn't get his footing. He could have used his exo boost to jump up if he'd landed on the flat part of the jutting masonry, but isn't able to.
I'm also pretty sure that Mirror messed his May wall up and blocked OG's shatter there during that. We caught a little bit of it from the free cam looking down at it, but it looked like, you know, with the vocal cue, OG had gone for the shatter, and then Mirror ended up on one side of the main wall, and the rest of the Gladiators on the other. So not great coordination there from the Gladiators.
Credit to OG because he's able to build half of another shatter in that ensuing fight. And now they have a Blizzard here. The Rain are going to have to dig deep now for some of these ultimates. Mirror tries to start the fight off here with the Blizzard. The Transcendence was there. OG into the charge, and the Zenyatta on the stick is good! Mirror's down. Space is missing now. Picked off by Baby Bay at range, and Edison's going to loop around and grab the Mega Health Pack. And Birdring stands there and throws his arms up. There's not much he can do when his entire front line gets caved in.
Still, 87% for the Gladiators. The Atlanta Rain, they end up using 3 big ultimates in that fight. 4 really of the Transcendence as well, right at the beginning of it. All it takes here is one pickoff from Birdring, and that'll send everything in the Gladiators' favor, which gives them a good chance to win the map.
And look, Los Angeles feel good about coming into this fight with the Gravitic Flux. Sets things up, especially for Birdring. Well, gives them potentially easier shots. Remember, Orisa can't bring her shield up with her. Birdring gets a couple of sitting ducks, clay pigeons to shoot at. He's getting harassed right now by the Tracer. That's the risk you take by playing the low ground. They do force the recall of Edison, but it doesn't mean that he won't be back in time. OG was very far forward, and the rest of his team, a Big Goose, saves the day again. Master and Dogman are down, and this is looking like it might just be over. The Rain don't have the healing. All they've got is shields to stay alive, but Baby Bay fires back at Birdring. Birdring is going to go down, of course. Oh no, he stands, he gets rid of Baby Bay. That's astonishing. The back and forth there. The Widows find their own kills, but it is the Gladiators with the numbers and the Rain without the healers. That is the important one. And sitting up on the high ground, you can see the red and white cross. That is Birdring. Sat safe after all of that. The Gladiators are back in control for one last fight.
It's like you mentioned, the Lucio displacement there from Big Goose is massive. Not just the environmental kill, but you see just to be able to boop the Sigma away from the shield. It looked at Gator trying to get a touch, not able to make it though. As the Gladiators
finish
will take map number 1.
I mean, that was just chaos. That you see
Yeah.
the missed call as well. Tough to tell which Widow is killing the other. They were both able to find kills, and it's astonishing that Baby Bay actually gets anything done there in that fight. He has to commit. He's lost both of his healers because Big Goose produces one of those performances that only Big Goose seems to know how to do.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere, big environmental kill and one from his primary fire there, and that's it. Finding Dogman and Masa in such short succession means it's impossible for the front line of the Rain to stand up.
They do win map number 1, though, but I'm interested to see what the Gladiators are able to do competitionally the rest of the series. If we still see more Tracer Ashen play and they don't want to play that, or are they able to beat it with some other types of compositions? I think that'll be the story of whether the Gladiators can keep this momentum going from map number 1 through the rest of the series.
Yeah, good point, Matt. I don't know if Ilios is really a map that's going to be indicative of the staple compositions that these two teams are going to want to play. The maps inside of Ilios are so varied between them that you get these crazy comps. You saw the Farah beforehand, and then we saw the Widow battle. In terms of DPS performance, very scrappy. Both teams knocking up a lot of kills there, but in the end, it is the Gladiators who prevail in map number 1. Ilios goes in their favor now, and the Atlanta Reign still a team sitting middle of the pack, looking for a boost here into the upper echelons of the Overwatch League. Can they find map number 2? Stick around. We're going to find out after the break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network, T-Mobile. And by State Farm. For auto, home, or renters insurance, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Individually, how do I hope to improve the team, help reach its goals, which, our goals are obviously to win Overwatch League. Just keep doing what I'm doing right now, try to be the best leader I possibly can, the best teammate I can be, and keep everyone's motivation up, keep everybody grinding, and if I can do that and everybody else does their job, we're gonna see a beautiful moment where everything clicks together, and then we're gonna be the powerhouse team dominating everybody. The team that everybody knows we can be, just like last year. We had that great run towards the end of the season, and that's really what we're gunning for again this season. So the being 5-5. We don't really think of our record that much. It's not that important to us. It's being 5-5 doesn't matter, but winning in playoffs, going far in playoffs, that's what actually matters. So that's what our eyes are set on. And that's it. Peace.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Overwatch League after map 1 here of the Atlanta Reign versus the Los Angeles Gladiators, and it was a scrappy affair. Again, a lot of high-flying DPS performances, but Matt, it's interesting to take a moment to talk about Baby Bay and what he brings as a leader, but also a player on the field. He's definitely had one of the most interesting careers, I think, in the Overwatch League. Wouldn't you say, Matt?
Oh, I thought we were going to talk about. We thought Baby Bay was going to talk about himself. He loves to talk about it, but no, I mean, I love Baby Bay. I remember the first season when we like kind of all got together and everybody like met here in LA. Just getting to know him. Just an incredible character, right? Like I think one of the better personalities. Got his start playing like I believe it was like Halo, like really long time ago, like console stuff, like way back in the day. So we kind of bonded over that. I think he's just. Like, when you kind of think of, like, some of the better personalities of the league, I think he comes to the forefront of my mind.
It's funny. He has definitely a mix of being a real earnest leader, but also a bit of a jokester. I mean, some of the Baby Bay copy pastors from the past have been absolutely legendary. But, Matt, I mean, he gets dropped from the San Francisco Shock and then sort of steps on up into this roster, obviously the inaugural showing of the Atlanta Reign, and fits like a glove.
Yes, I do feel like he's been a big part of this Atlanta Reign team, right? Like he comes in from the Shock when Defiant exits, right? So they needed somebody to really kind of step up when Baby Bay comes in, kind of carry the torch that Defiant left. Just kind of Defiant comes in, plays amazing, then he's gone, and the Baby Bay needed to step up, fill those shoes. And I think he's done it quite nicely. I don't think when everybody talks about plugging in Ursa to the lineup, let's see, Ursa. I don't think anyone's really saying that Baby Bay is like a problem, right? Like I think Baby Bay's played quite well. I think it's just people want to see more Ursa in the team.
And as you've seen, of course, Jaru comes on in here now for the Gladiators. So a bit of a mix-up there in DPS. What does that imply to you, Matt?
Well, look, if Mirror played the Tracer in map number 1, and they don't want to go to it again, right? Like maybe this is some kind of variation where like they want to play something with like Genji in it, right? Like we've seen some teams play some dive, like maybe they want to play that. Like Jaru can play Genji at a high level, Pharah, the Mei as well. You don't know with the Gladiators because we haven't seen Jaru in that long. Like we saw him a little bit earlier in the season, but we haven't seen him in a while.
Well, now after unconvincing map 1 victory for the Gladiators here, they'll be tested once more by the Reign.
This would be a different look because Jaru is like historically like a projectile player, right?
Yep. He was a filthy Genji back in the day.
So to see him pick up a hit scan would be interesting. Not to say he can't do it, but
he's like a Doomfist Genji kind of guy. Farah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Back on LG, I think it was LG Evil, right?
It was the Contenders. What is it? Contender Season 0, and him and McGravy were.
Of course, no, it was. That's right. Good times. Yeah.
I believe like I think Numlocked was on that team as well.
It was Envision, right?
Envision, yeah. Where I think Jaru did play a little bit of like hit scan, like 76, and they want to play like 76 Tracer back in the day. So we'll see how he fares here on the Ashe.
All right, Birdring on the Tracer here versus Edison. Ooh, that's a tasty matchup. Mirror compositions here for both sides.
This kind of is, it's really nice and I guess interesting to see this right after the Dallas Fuel series, because a lot like what the Gladiators are kind of, I don't want to say struggling because we haven't seen it yet, but a lot of what we kind of theorize their potential issues are is what we saw from Dallas, where Birdring is their best Ashe and their best Tracer, but they need somebody to play one of them. Jaru's able to get a kill there on a Baby Bay, so the help of a halt. So it's a good start for Jaru at least.
Dynamite goes in over the top. He wasn't actually able to detonate it in midair though, so that is less ideal positioning for that. Edison's in trouble, has to recall here. Jaru had another Dynamite, lets it go. Master down to Space's accretion, and eventually the Reign are just getting ground into pulp here on the point. Most of the fight was happening between the tanks there, as we saw Baby Bay and Edison dancing a little bit around Jaru.
Yes, Jaru able to get things going with that first pick off, and then the rest of the team just barrels through the front line of the Atlanta Reign. So that'll be the LA Gladiators who unlock the payload first, as to see a new look Gladiators today. They seem a little bit more energized in their play.
Master now has the amplification matrix, so as soon as they get the Gladiators in a position where there isn't really anywhere to run, that ultimate is going to look a lot better. Okay, sitting up pretty far forward here, and you'll see the Gators just breaks line of sight around that corner. Now they want to make a move with the Hulk here. Immortality field, though, immediately thrown down by Shaz, and the Gladiators were ready for that little play with that amplification matrix, so they'll stave it off. They get to disengage.
Yes, they'll have to back up here. The Gladiators have some ultimate to use here coming on in. Gravitic Flux as Baby Bay dies before he even hits the ground. There goes Gator. Space moving over to the side as, you know, with all of the struggles, I think, for the Gladiators so far this season, you can't even say anything bad about Space. I mean, just a phenomenal off-tank in every single hero. So now the Gladiators will keep the cart moving, Mitch, and they'll have a lot of ultimates to use to get it over the line. As you're going to have both support ults, you'll have a Supercharger, you'll have your Pulse Bomb, and your Bob. A lot of good combos for the Gladiators to set another good time from point A to point B.
Jaru is looking very good so far, Matt. 4 final blows for him, and Bob coming up pretty darn soon. But first, of course, the fireworks. There he goes, charges straight on in, so that denies a lot of the high ground away from the rain, but they very quickly get rid of Bob. He's a Transcendence now, and a nice dynamite connection forces OG down to the low ground. Jaru's still able to find Edison, though. That is crucial. Both teams lose the supercharges, but Hawk, yeah, the Gravitic Flux against such a low health team has got to cling to the fight.
Yeah, that's filthy. As OG takes a lot of damage up front, like he fortifies and blocks the Bob from going into the rest of the team, then jumps down, but he's so low at that moment in time where they're not able to keep him up, not able to keep anything going. So Gladiators almost get the cart in the distance. You can see where it is at the top of your screen. They still have this Pulse Bomb, maybe a Pulse Bomb plus Halt combo coming up as Birdring never died, so I don't think they have any idea he's really back there. So we'll see if Birdring's able to pick up a kill coming from that position.
And what is Edison looking for here, I wonder? Trying to find a way to wrap around, at least.
I think he heard Jaru coach gun up, so he was looking for him.
Edison doesn't get a job done, though. He actually recalls while he still had plenty of health, so maybe he was afraid about burst damage coming his way, but that looked pretty skittish from him. Not hanging around in the back line. Maybe that comes back to hurt him. The Gladiators still now have Jaru close to yet another Bob. Jaru is absolutely going wild. 6 final blows and 0 deaths so far. Neither DPS from the Gladiators has suffered a death. What do they do from here? They're waiting on Amp Matrix from Shaz here to use this setup bunker position just to rain damage down. And here it comes. A lot of early damage, though, taken by OG, so he needs to be a little bit careful. Jaru's trying to play an off angle, but he walks straight into Baby Bay's sights.
It's that Baby Bay with a headshot onto Jaru, and now Atlanta will clean up the rest of the kills. So Atlanta starting to get going, but on the defensive end here, though, Mitch, you have control of the high ground unless the other team forces you off of it, right? So being the Ashe that has the high ground, being able to just knock some heads down, definitely going to make it easier for your team to get these holds. It's whether the Gladiators can force this position off of the high ground and get it for themselves. That'll be where it gets scary and dicey for the Atlanta Reign.
See if they can stave off this flux. They got the Transcendence, they'll have an Immortality field available. I want to see the Bob flux. Now, I think Jaru looked like he was playing an off angle, maybe to get like a nasty Bob, an unexpected one. Maybe even one just a Baby Bay to knock him up and get an easy kill completion, but that was the risk that the Gladiators took in that previous fight, and it backfired pretty badly. Here comes Bob. That's from Jaru and Baby Bay as well, so both of them are going to be duking it out in the middle of the map. Baby Bay loses his first, and they get a little bit of cart progress out of Jaru's. That's about it, though.
There's still the cart moving in favor of the Gladiators, right? Nice kinetic grasp, going to eat up a lot of shields there for Space. He almost goes up to like 800 HP. Trying to find one player. Oh, Baby Bay gets targeted. Just brought up, knocked out. The Gladiators take point B.
Not a bad position to be in, really, if you're Space. If you can't find targets to hit with the flux, that means your team has done their job. A little bit of cleanup from that ultimate there, but that accretion thrown by Space that actually allowed Dogman to get eaten up so easily by Birdring was crucial there. Dogman takes a ton of front-loaded damage from the accretion, and Birdring was already behind enemy lines. OG has a supercharger here, but it's going to be the Ampler Matrix to start the fight up here for the Reign.
And Space with that one kinetic grasp almost gets like 300 HP out of it as Jaru takes out Masa, but he falls rather quickly as that Amp Matrix being put to good use there for the Atlanta Reign. Nice spot for it to be right around the corner as they're moving the payload. Looks like just going to go push up, see if you can get any more spawners, but they'll back out now as that was Amp Matrix plus Supercharger for the Atlanta Reign.
Yeah, it looks like the same from the Gladiators, though. OG and Shaz both pretty low on ult percentage there. So both teams try their luck here, and this is the scrappy style of play that you should be expecting for the rest of this series now. some of these big kills may just come down to individuals, and keep an eye on Birdring. He'll be looking to try and flank around. Edison is preempting that himself. Gator's shield very low, so is Hawk. Shaz loses his immortality field though.
Yeah, and they use the immortality field for Atlanta rather early as well, so you don't have that up right now. As Bob comes out for both teams, they're able to deal with it rather quickly. That'll be another Ant Matrix here for Masa.
Yeah, maybe it makes a difference here. It's definitely going to let Hawk get a ton of damage around that corner. Master stays out of line of sight, but Gator is down, so they're only working with the one shield for now. And yet the Gladiators aren't really in a position to capitalize on this window. Edison, though, goes a little bit deep for that kill, and Space is able to apprehend him, following it up then with the Gravitic Flux. And Space, another huge part of that fight, man. His Sigma is pretty crazy. 8 final blows, 3 deaths.
Well, you know what's also kind of crazy is when you're watching Edison go in onto the Zen, right? You're thinking in your head like, oh man, it's really tough to challenge Shaz in the back. That's Big Goose's Zen. This Big Goose is able to land a few shots at him on the Zen as they wanted to go with the Zen T setup. So Big Goose flexes over from usually the main support role to play the Zenyatta.
Yeah, and the opposite for Master, obviously, he normally playing the Lucio's playing the Batiste here. So 2 teams with different takes on how to spread that main support responsibility. But it looks pretty good for the Gladiators here. They had plenty of ultimates into that next fight because they got a free win coming into it. And they just spend. Go for the Transcendence and the Supercharger. And they're across the line with time to spare.
So the Gladiators do complete the map. Very little time in the time bank remaining, 7 seconds. It's really a big stall at the second point for Atlanta Reign that gives them that. Now it'll be Atlanta turned on offense, and you gotta see Atlanta look better here, Mitch, right? I mean, even with, let's say both of these teams coming in at full strength, even, let's say you didn't know anything about them coming into the season, you still heavily kind of favor the Atlanta Reign with the roster that they have. They just kind of top to bottom.
I think you do, especially based on the fact that Birdring hasn't really been soaring to the highs that he was expected to last season.
Now, knowing what we do know, though, Birdring's playing quite well this season.
Yep, and also with Jaru being a less known quantity at the Overwatch League level, right? By the way, he's ruining the Reign. 12 final blows, 3 deaths for this guy, and a huge amount of damage. And he is a reason. He and Space are the ones that set up kills for Birdring along with OG's Holt. So that's what's making it kind of hard to be Master and Dogman right now. Everyone on the Reign actually has equal amount of deaths, so there's no real focus that has to be applied by the Gladiators. They're just pushing.
It's interesting where the Gladiators are a team, or some other teams in the league, you're kind of worried about their damage dealers, like can they contend and whatnot, or you're not worried about the damage dealers and you're worried about the other parts of the team. Like the Gladiators, like their tanks and their supports are so rock solid that you were really just worried about the damage dealers coming into the year. Like if they clicked, you thought they could really make a push for even better than their previous season's placings. I think Birdring has lived up to that so far. You need somebody in that secondary spot. And Jaru looking very strong on the Ashe this far.
OG, wow! It takes a huge amount of damage.
Yeah,
I mean, you got to be ready for this. Look, in Zen Batiste comps, you are going to take that kind of burst damage. So nicely done by OG, just getting out alive. But look, the Gladiators are having trouble getting him back to full health.
He's not going to be alive much longer, yeah.
And that is why pressuring your opponent's healing resources is so important. They couldn't get him back to full health at all. They didn't have burst healing. It's not available with Zen Batiste competition, so you keep the pressure up. Eventually, if you get a HP advantage, the enemy tends to crumble.
Oh, he got blown up. I mean, he had like 1 HP left. I mean, and there's no way you can bring him back from that, right? Whether it be a Harmony or Batistiel's immortality, like there's nothing that's going to save him there.
The problem is that immortality field doesn't stop you from taking damage. That's the issue. So, you know, they keep OG alive at, 10% of his health, but as soon as that field's gone, he gets smashed.
Yeah, I mean, almost the bigger issue is, like, you could probably have kept him alive using all of those cooldowns, but you would have just given up the point right after that, right? Because you don't have any of those cooldowns to extend the fight much longer. The Atlanta Reign have good position at that time. It would have been really difficult to fight out of.
All right, Ant Matrix on the corner is not going to be relevant for very long because the cart's moving so fast with so many players on there. Still, it gives the Reign a head start in this fight. Edison, a brief stoush with Birdring on the low ground, now looks for his next target. Being chased by Hyperspheres, you saw the damage taken, but Baby Bay finds Jaru and now has the ability to take the high ground for the attackers, and this is blazing fast time for Atlanta.
Yes, Atlanta's just running through the Gladiators now, as that'll be an Ant Matrix up top from Shaz. I'm not even sure they have anybody left to shoot through it. Players falling left and right. Big Goose He'll fall as well as, man, Atlanta setting a blistering time now through Blizzard World as Shaz will eventually fall, and that's checkpoint B. 5 minutes plus to finish the map.
Edison has really come alive in the last few moments. I mean, whichever way you slice it, we are going to have extra time on this map because the Gladiators are so far behind. It is ridiculous, and this gap is not decreasing.
The Gladiators could come out with a tremendous hold here, and
even you don't sound like you believe it.
Well, I said they could. I didn't say it will happen, but it's possible. I mean, you have that close spawn. We've seen games where 5 minutes turns into 2 minutes, turns into no time left, and everyone's freaking out rather quickly, but highly unlikely, though.
Great flux from space. Immortality Field had to be used there by Marston, so good response. Jaru a little bit far forward here. Gets a bob off into the backline, who is pacified rather quickly. Discord Orb and Focus Fire gets rid of him. Now Babybay's going to have his bob to push forward, and OG and Jaru, well, Jaru's lost his bob, OG's down. Babybay has room to work. Playing aggressively here, the Rain can smell it. They're so close here, and the Gladiators just got absolutely kicked in the teeth in this round. Big Goose tries to step up and stall, but this one is going to be over in a matter of moments here. Oh my god.
That was not close at all. It's 5 minutes, 25 seconds in the time bank on Blizzard World. Has to be close to a record, if not a record, just off the top of my head. I mean, I can't think of a game where we've had where there's been that much time left at the end, as the Gladiators' defense does not exist.
And now they only have 1 minute left to attack against a frighteningly large time bank. And up until that point in this entire series, the Rain were really not looking like much to really write home about. But that was a big switch of momentum there. You have to wonder where it came from. I will say that Hawk went absolutely mental.
Yeah.
That was the fastest attacking time on Blizzard World.
I'm basically a stats guy.
You are, yeah. The database inside your head, you know, I'm sure people would pay big money to have access to that. It's like Rehoboam up between your ears, dude.
No, that definitely has to be a record. I mean, just even now, obviously we have it confirmed, but I mean that was crazy fast. I would love to know what the second highest time is. It's probably like with 4 minutes and like a few seconds to go. I think this is like well and above the record here on Blizzard World.
Got to be Season 2 Vancouver Titans. So it's, yeah, second highest time is what, 3:59?
Yeah, I was gonna say probably, yeah, like so, I thought it was like mid 4 minutes or 4 minutes, so that was, but yeah, that is so 3:59.
Remember, the Rain actually had 4:25. They just get, oh, well, no, less than that actually. They got like a 50-second increase in time, 53 seconds increase. So take about a minute off Atlanta Rain's current time, and that's about where you are. So yeah, by quite a decent margin. Impressive stuff. The Gladiators just look dejected.
Impressive on both sides. Out of them. I mean, you to give up a time that fast, it's got to be somewhat impressive.
Sure. No one's given medals for being bad, though, Matt.
Yeah.
It's not your primary school sports stat. I used to get participation medals all the time because.
I like how you just asked if we had sports. Yeah, we had sports.
No, like the sports carnivals. You know what I mean? I dreaded them so much.
Sports carnivals. Well.
Yeah. I did not have an athletic... My dad was professional footballer. I had no athletic ability whatsoever. Kind of sad, really. Anyway, the Gladiators get mulched as they try and push up.
Speaking of sad, the Gladiators' offense.
Yes, that was sad. Nice segue. My God. Have a seat.
Dogman gets 1 kill, they drop an Ant Matrix, and everybody's just there for the Gladiators like, uh-oh. And then everybody just falls over.
Yeah, Big Goose just got turned into pate along with the rest of the Gladiators there. I mean, with only a minute to spare and Atlanta Rain riding momentum high, probably not too surprised to see that happen. Now, talking about records, if the Rain failed to capture point A, that would have to... Okay. Oh, I just thought we were, we're having that kind of day.
I'm not the commissioner. I've interviewed the commissioner, but if I would run the league in a crazy fashion where I would immediately just come over the comm tier to you and I would demand that if the Gladiators were to get a hold here on point A, they automatically win the series.
All right, yeah, no, that's fair. I would do that. That would be Atlanta Rain just hit the showers.
Yeah, it'd be like Vince McMahon just comes out and takes the title off of somebody in WWE. I would just march out there and just make rules.
I'm gonna let you finish, but you don't deserve to play the rest of the series.
I would walk out with a little belt that said competitive integrity. I would throw it in the bin. I'd be like, here's the new rules. We're playing 6v6 Zenyatta only. Yeah.
Yes, memes and hot takes.
Yep.
That is now what we aspire to. The Atlanta Reign, they're blazing. Like you said it before, they're looking incredibly good now and with plenty of time. So, yeah, I don't know what the statisticians would say about the odds of Atlanta Reign failing to win the map here, but I would say they are astronomically low.
Let's talk about how it does happen. Blizzard World, like, it can be pretty punishing on offense, right? And it's a very long walk back from the offense to the point. So there's a lot of time wasted there. You can kind of like die repeatedly on Tracer trying to go in for some of these kills if you're a little bit out of position. So it's a good start for the Gladiators. You get a kill here on the Baby Bay. Now maybe you burn some more clock. As the longer they linger here for Atlanta, like you can maybe pick up some kills on the stragglers here. You can get even more time for the Gladiators. So that's exactly what's going to happen.
I mean, Jari's looking very clean. His use of Coach Gun there, just to make it impossible for Edison to get on top of him, is making a big difference. And you're a Tracer, and you're trying to deal with an Ashe with Coach Gun and Sigma. Like, Edison had to play that flank because he didn't want to play with the rest of his team, but going up against that combo was brutal.
So there's a full minute off the clock, right?
Okay.
By time the next fight comes, you're probably at like 3:30. So you look at that. Let's say the Gladiators end up winning that one. We're already down to. I mean, look, this is how it happens. You're already down to like 2 minutes, a little over 2 minutes. So it's not out of the equation here. Well, now it may be as Big Goose dies early.
Edison finds the one clip. Jaru is his next victim. Jaru has to Coach Gun himself back towards the enemy with Edison positioned on the other side. So that's less safe for the Ashe, but Jaru stays alive for the time being. That pulse bomb, though, finds it. Mark it still. Oh, no. Space burn Jaru. Stop it. Behave yourself, Matt. 3 minutes 35 on the clock. The Reign once again fizzle out on the attack.
Like I mentioned, the next fight will probably happen, like, 2:45, 2:30. You're able to leave that fight. They already used Pulse Bomb and Matrix. They're now close to a Bob. Let's say they invest like a supercharger Flux. It doesn't work out, right? You kind of come back with an ultimate advantage of your own with a minute to go, and you're in a spot to get this hold. Like, it's not as crazy. No! That's a bad death, though. I mean, he's got Bob. You cannot do that if you're Jaru.
Just picked off like Baby Bay. Taking candy from a baby, I guess. And now they'll push their way forward. Dogman has a Transcendence. He has to go for that now with the Pulse Bomb being stuck to him, but he makes the right move to keep Atlanta fighting fit with 6 players. Still, Edison goes down. He goes away from the safety of the Transcendence to take a 1v1, but still, the Gravitic Flux was there, and Hawk is able to deal with Space, and Shaz is down. And the Atlanta Reign take the map, and by God, if they didn't, there would be something seriously wrong with the league and everything that we're doing.
That is a really bad death there from Jaru, because it's doable. Like, as much as we're joking about it, like, at that time, like, it was doable. But to not have him there with a Bob in that fight, plus the Dynamite for the extra damage, just Ashe in general, that is a really bad death, as Baby Bay comes up big there for Atlanta and gets that first pick off.
I mean, give my man some slack. Like, you have to play literally perfect to hold on for, 5.5 minutes there. All it takes is one of those bad... It doesn't have to be a bad death. I think any death is a bad death at the start of a fight for the Gladiators there, right? They have to be...
Especially somebody with an ultimate. Especially one that could, like, stall the point out, put a bunch of damage down. Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's less than ideal. The Bob would have been huge. Having a 7th player active there for the Gladiators would have been a big deal. So... what does this do to us now? We were so high, I guess, on the Gladiators after map 1, but that was a real mood killer for them.
Look, I don't think Jaru was bad on the Ashe, like, all things considered throughout the map. So I think it's just another look that the Gladiators can throw at Atlanta. I think the maps are really going to determine the rest of the series and how it plays out.
All right, well, it's been pretty darn good of a recovery from the Atlanta Reign, led by Baby Bay. Perhaps a pep talk from him to the rest of his team got him over the line in map number 2, and maybe he'll keep them firing heading into map 3 after the break. We'll see you in a moment with more of this series.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by ZipChair Gaming, the official chair supplier of the Overwatch League. welcome to our game break presented by Pringles. Wavy, Zoe here, joining me are Reinforce and Costa. Not on a first name basis anymore.
We keep going back
guys,
and forth.
I don't know, I just want to make it maximum confusing.
It's whether or
for
not we're in
everyone.
trouble or not, Johnny. We're in trouble right now.
What have we done?
By
Yeah.
our handles.
I haven't
You're
done
in trouble
anything.
if I call you by your handles. That's how it goes. Well,
Okay,
first
okay.
of
But
all,
why?
we need to discuss the match at hand. Well, we get to that, Reinforce. Be patient. And that's one of the reasons why I'm calling you Reinforce now. Either way, it's 1-1 apiece. Gladiators looking good on control. However, Atlanta Reign just decided to speedrun that second map. Let's dissect what we're seeing. Starting with you, Reinforce. Looking at the maps, looking at the compositions. Is there any surprises for you?
Well, not necessarily any surprises, but I think the maps actually play a big part in how this series played down. I think that if we had seen, for example, Nepal as our first map, I think maybe Atlanta would have stood a bit more of a chance, but I think actually Ilios was a pretty good map for the LA Gladiators, and they showed that when they brought out some of these spicy non-bunker compositions overall. And then also Blizzard World, where I actually expected to be closer, but I mean, the Atlanta Reign on attack, they just snowballed, and that's where they really showcased why they're so scary on this double bunker composition. By the way, that nasty Widowmaker headshot that we saw on Ilios, like Birdring hitting Baby Bay, it's past us, it's in the past, in the replay package, we cannot go back, but we're on YouTube, so you viewers can go back. So go back and watch that, because that shot was absolutely crazy, and was the shot that sealed the deal for the LA Gladiators on Ilios, combined with Big Goose big play, of course. So
yeah, Reinforce screeched when it happened.
oh yeah, I did.
Actually
I'm sorry for
screeched.
that. So yeah.
No, it's okay.
That's why you're in
I
trouble.
really enjoy hearing
Is that
the
why I'm
passion
in trouble?
coming through. Yes, actually.
Screeching in
I
TeamSpeak? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's one of those things. It's one of those things. Costa, looking at the match so far, what are your thoughts? Are you impressed with what you're seeing from both sides, or...?
I actually really like what I've been seeing from the Gladiators. I'm starting to see some more confidence and some really good team cohesion. As Johnny said, I think they are at their best when they can sort of mix up the comps. We saw it on Ilios. They were able to play the Pharah, they were able to play the Widow, and just sort of playing their own little style and not really falling into the way that Atlanta wants to play. Unfortunately, we do end up going to Blizzard World, and that is a map that you pretty much have to play this bunker, Ash, slow style, which is the Atlanta Reign bread and butter. So they did a pretty good job, and I actually thought Gladiators had a chance until they just got absolutely steamrolled. So
speaking of that Ash and Tracer kind of come, but looking at the Gladiator side, I think it was Mitch, I believe, who also mentioned it, that Birdring would technically be their go-to Ash as well as their go-to Tracer. How did Jaru pick up the pace?
Well, it was quite a decent performance. He was okay-ish. Yeah, I don't think it was necessarily a bad thing for the LA Gladiators. I don't think you can blame Jaru for getting snowballed like that. He might have played a little bit of a part in shot calling, etc. We don't have that insight necessarily, but I do think that maybe the LA Gladiators, they are suffering a little bit from some of these heroes being removed. For example, that Echo that Mirror has been playing so much as of recent. So yeah, that could be a difficulty for this team. That might actually be one of the reasons we saw the LA Gladiators play so much dive compositions in the main melee, because they stuck to those kind of roles, whereas we didn't see them play as much Ash and Tracer. And obviously you have the Atlanta Reign, where they have a bunch of hit scan specialists. They have Baby Bay, Edison, and Sharp on the bench as well, and then Ursa can sort of fill around that as well. So that certainly is playing a part, Zoe, and I think that's a good point.
Well, it is now time once again for, of course, crunch time. It's weird to say time twice in one sentence, but it is presented by Pringles Wavy, and this one just goes to the entire first attack round of the Atlanta Reign, as they were just running through it. Did they set a record? I think they set the record, at least for this year.
They blew it out of the record. Me and Johnny were having an argument / discussion afterwards, and Johnny's like, no, there are faster times. I'm like, no. This was the fastest time, because the thing that made this push so impressive is they never really left the point, and because they had so much aggression coming out from Edison and Baby Bay just controlling space and getting pick after pick, the carts that kept rolling, and they were just so aggressive that the Gladiators never actually touched the cart, I don't think, throughout this whole entire roll. So an absolutely monstrous performance from Atlanta Reign, and why they are one of the best bunker teams. When they get aggressive, when they get confident, no one can beat them.
Yeah.
Now, I need some last thoughts here. Sorry, I have to interrupt you, Reinforce, because this is probably more important.
I must be in so much deep trouble. Like, it's
one of those days.
sir. I want to talk about subs. Anubis is coming up next, and we're going to have OG out, LH Cloudy in, Jaru's out, and Mirror in. Reinforce, maybe you want to take it.
Well, primarily, I think we know LH Cloudy as a Reinhardt specialist for this team, and he saw some play earlier in the year. So it's going to be quite hard to see what types of compositions they are going to play. Obviously, OG is a fantastic Winston player, so that tells me at least that subbing in LH Cloudy, they won't be playing any Winston compositions, because why would you then sub in Cloudy? So I am expecting some Reinhardt. Maybe you try to take some Brawl composition and just assault the point on assault maps. So that is going to be one style you can play this. Maybe they aren't as confident playing double shield compositions on a tight map like this. So there are multiple ways they could go here, but I think it narrows down the strategy they are going to play quite a bit.
Well, let's see if Reinforce the Oracle is once again right, as he usually is. We'll find out in just a second as we're heading onto Anubis. So back to you, Matt and Mitch.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Pringles Wavy. Big crunch, big flavor. The Overwatch League is brought to you by HyperX. Unleash your style, unleash your fury. With HyperX Fury Memory.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Overwatch League, and I hope you had a chance to take a breath after the break, because it was a record-setting time for the Atlanta Reign on the attack of Blizzard World to set them up for a map win after dropping the first map in this series. So now we're tied up and everything's up in the air.
Well, I mean, once you guys see the rosters, I mean, you're going to be like, well, everything is up in the air. As we come out of halftime 1-1, you know, both of these teams looked convincing at times, but with the next map being Anubis, Anubis forces you to have some different type of comps to work around. So I think that's probably why, more than anything, you'll see these subs coming in.
Yeah, I mean, and you're right. Let's talk about the substitutions now, Matt, because there's some crucial ones. Obviously, interesting enough, on the side of the Atlanta Reign, we have Erster coming back in, but for the Gladiators, Mira comes in, and Cloudy now comes in as well, as was discussed in the break at main tank.
So the Urser change coming in for Atlanta, that probably means that they want to just play May constantly. I feel like the only times we really see Urser like in meaningful minutes throughout the season has been when playing May. So to see him come in for Anubis is not surprising at all. Cloudy is a bit of an interesting one. Maybe you want to play more Reinhardt, but what are you going to play with it? And Mirror coming in, so I'm really more interested in what the Gladiators are attempting to do with these subs as opposed to Atlanta, because I expected Atlanta to probably just play kind of like how we say that Yaki and the Florida Mayhem don't really do great on this map because of their lack of being able to utilize Tracer. Edison's been playing the Tracer the whole time. They take him out now because they want to put an Urser who's going to insta-lock and play May. So that's kind of where that change comes in.
I was hoping we get some of that classic Erster Junkrat play, and that would have been a lot of fun. We used to see him sprinkle it in. I just wouldn't expect to see it, though. Crucially, though, now with these substitutions, over 1/3 of the players in the lobby are Finnish. There are 3 players from Finland on the Gladiators roster now, of course, and chat is very difficult to read. That is an extremely hard language to understand, obviously. But yes, everybody's reveling in that fact. I think Gator didn't realize there were actually 3 Finns on the Gladiators roster.
Although maybe we do see some Junkrat, though, as Johnny on the pre-show was saying that the martyrdom buff is massive for Junkrat.
Yeah, so of course, the Grenade martyrdom. That's a Call of Duty throwback.
Yeah, martyrdom. I mean, that's what it's called, right? I mean,
yeah. Obviously, when Junkrat perishes, he leaves a large number of grenades behind him. Now, we could talk a little bit about the changes map, but crucially, it's just a little nasty.
I want to meet the person from the Overwatch team who liked martyrdom enough in Call of Duty to be like, you know what? Let's bring it back.
I know when I played COD 4 Pro Mod competitively, that was nowhere to be seen. They took that out, got rid of it. And we'll see if that's an option for Atlanta here. Obviously, any strategy in Overwatch that requires, like, you're not playing to it because you don't want to die in the first place, right? That's just annoying and it ruins your strategy. So it just kind of makes him a bit more annoying to deal with. Maybe your opponents have to take a bit more care, but expecting to see the May is much more reasonable here.
Yeah, and this is what I expected from Atlanta. Atlanta on offense is still some time to change their comp, but I expect her to sort of just insta-lock the May. And like I had mentioned, like maybe Cloudy comes in to play the Reinhardt, so they opt to play Reinhardt with the Sigma this time. Reinhardt gives you the option, like if they rotate to the Mega Health Pack rune, to be able to brawl a little bit better in that close quarter scenario, as opposed to just kind of stand on the bridge and turret up with the Orisa. So maybe that's the thinking of going with Cloudy here. I don't know if you need to switch main tanks, though. Like, is Cloudy's Reinhardt that much better than OG's?
I mean, this is the first time we've seen the Gladiators play Anubis this year. So who knows? Maybe Cloudy's been waiting for it to come up in rotation, knowing that he's been practicing for it.
Oh, there goes Mirror. I was going to say, if you remember back to, I believe it's the Gladiators' first game of the season. They played in Nepal, and I think everyone was surprised when Cloudy was in over OG. And during that one, it was because they tried to play like Reinhardt rush comps. That was their play there.
Well, we have not really got to see much of what the Gladiators are trying to do with Cloudy because, well, losing your May right at the start of the fight is less than ideal, but it means Mirror gets to switch to quite the comfort pick, and Dogman may not have expected to see the Doomfist here. Unfortunately, Mirror leaves almost as quickly as he arrived.
Yep, he goes in, he goes out. This will be the Atlanta Reign. Should be able to take the point here. We'll see if there's any meaningful switches for the Gladiators as they defend point B. But looks like potentially just going to have Cloudy stay on the Rhine. I think you can play Mirror on the Doom here at that second point.
Oh.
Baby Bay gets a one shot in there, I believe, a bird ring. Forces him down from the high ground.
It's just weird, though. You have no Mei on this point, which seems like kind of a crazy decision considering how powerful she is with her
Cloudy's just
wall.
kind of stuck in the middle of nowhere. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, see what this Doomfist gets done. Obviously, Mira's a freak beast on the Doomfist, but it's more of an issue of how it works in this composition than, you know, our faith in the individual, because obviously there's plenty of that. Gate is down, so Mira's done the work he had to do, and Big Goose is making it very, very hard for the Atlanta Reign to escape. Now Mira gets to clean up.
yep. One kill on the Dogman, almost finishes off Baby Bay, but the cleanup will be there for the rest of the team. So Gladiators get that first point defensive hold. They're still not really close to a sound barrier, right? Because the first few fights are not able to really generate any ultimate charge to them because they're just having players die so quickly and spread out. So that'll be an ultimate that takes a while to come online. Atlanta's going to have to figure out a way to attack this. Like, maybe go far left and play from that position. Leaves you susceptible to a Gravitic Flux. But now they'll probably back out, though, and just wait out this Ant Matrix.
Yeah, they buy some time with the Ant Matrix. That's all it does, though. They force a disengagement. There it is. What a shatter. Oh, my. Big Goose rolls straight on him, but Cloudy giving a fantastic account of himself there. And the Gladiators just cycle ultimates. One of them
nice.
is eventually going to catch him.
Yeah, the Atlanta Reign back around the corner, and they just expected the Gladiators to wait it out, and they catch him a little bit off guard as Cloudy rounds the corner, just a jump and a shatter. Next to the few players, the cleanup's really easy there for the Gladiators, and those are the fights you love, where you can only invest one ultimate. And
So
it's really
cheaply
clean.
won, right? Yeah, especially after using Shaz's window and getting not much value out of
you
it.
do kind of invest two, right? To buy some time.
Still okay. I think 2 is still a good amount of ultimates to get a win out of, especially because you can cycle the rest of them around that, right? Let's see what Mira does. Can he get rid of Dogman early? Okay, kind of misses the boat getting into the back line of the way they would have liked to, but a Gravitic Flux is there. Mira, I think that was Bob actually starting to work away at him after Baby Bay had thrown that down. This is pretty safe play for Doomfist. Eventually, Mira's going to make his way in. Maybe the sound barrier now is going to give him a bit more confidence. He's looking to try and go forward now. Meteor Strike gets him out of trouble, but there's a Transcendence in play. Mira still able to get some action, though. Dogman is down, and Baby Bay also falls to Birdring's Bob. This one's slowing up again for Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean, you have so many things to worry about, right? You know, you have the Meteor Strike coming from the sky, the Reinhardt getting in your face, swinging, that the Bob goes right behind them. Ends up taking down 3 players there. So the Gladiators, we get another defensive stand. This next one, though, you just have the Ant Matrix, and then Ursur's got his Blizzard and an Ant Matrix of your own. This is Atlanta's best chance so far to take checkpoint B.
Blizzard now. Obviously, May has not been something the Gladiators have wanted to play. Mira's played plenty of May, though. We've definitely seen him on that. The Doomfist just seems to suit him a little bit better right now. And Mira's playing safe. He's not actually trying to be the initiator here. Just trying to get in once the fight's already started. Here's an Amplification Matrix. Baby Bay takes it off angle now, wants to wrap around. Mira is down. Good start here for Atlanta, but they've lost Dogman. Urster has Blizzard, but does he have a chance to use this properly? A little bit lacking on healing are the Rain, but they still have faith in Master to stay in the fight for now. That is just classic Big Goose. He'll run Baby Bay down.
You don't have enough to stay in the fight. Between, like, Space at the choke putting down damage and then Big Goose being able to dislodge so many players, you're not able to keep that going if you're the Atlanta Reign. So another fight win for LAG. They're starting to look really good here on defense. But like you mentioned, they don't really want to play the Mei here. And then also it makes you kind of think like, well, they don't really want to play Mei in a lot of situations. They kind of have an odd time trying to make the Tracer plus the Ashe work. A really tough week, 2 weeks potentially for the Gladiators.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, it just doesn't get easier for them now. They have to stand up against this kind of opposition. Birdring, what a cheeky spot. I mean, this is aggressive as well. He wasn't going to be able to get back to the rest of his team playing from there, but it's worked out. Nice little way of mixing it up. And the Gladiators, you can always trust Los Angeles Gladiators to go for a wacky strat.
And Baby Bay with a Bob here at the end. I'm wondering if he's going to change. Yeah, so we'll have a Tracer come in. So interesting. A lot of the times we've been talking about, we don't see a lot of teams go to the Tracer here on Temple of Anubis. Baby Bay will bring out the Tracer here on the offense. So Tracer-May combination, potentially.
Birdring has Bob now. Still set up in a good spot. No, Baby Bay, man. Could have just one Blink Pro, please. Come on, dude.
He didn't want to recall because
It's not a staring competition. You're allowed to blink. Get the health pack, bro.
Yeah, but he already used to blinks.
Just one more, bro, please. Come on. It's my Masters promo game, dude. Come on. All right. Well, there'll be a quick reset for Atlanta. And that time is ticking down. Gladiators making his Doomfist composition works. Don't be fooled. It's not many teams can pull it off. Gotta have a real specialist there, and Mirror is exactly that. Shadow from Cloudy. No connection, but Dogman was already down. He's going to force the Blizzard out of Atlanta now. They have to go now. And that Blizzard doesn't really find anything. It's contained. It's like a snow globe. And Shaz just spits bullets for 3.
I mean, after a nice first offense for Atlanta, they do absolutely nothing from point A to point B. The Gladiators in a good position to get a hold here where Atlanta doesn't even get close to even touching the point. Really just held at the gate. Anyone even touch? It looks like Urs are barely going to make it.
Urs the Doomfist, you have my attention. Soundbarrier now for the Gladiators here as they prepare to stave off this final assault from the rain. And, well, that was short-lived. Perhaps a little bit of a mismatch there. The sound barrier helped a lot. And the Gladiators sit pretty, not even one tick, captured on point B by the rain. And Atlanta, it is feast or famine, and right now they be feeding.
Yeah, and what I expect from the Gladiators on offense is the Reinhardt yet again, maybe in combination with the Doomfist, and especially with a Lucio in play to try and speed boost the Rhine into positions, some pressure on the Gator and Hawk.
Oh dear. And now the Gladiators look like they're in position to fire back here. I wonder if they go with the Doomfist on the attacking side though, right? Or do they have to play nice, play fair, and play May?
You can probably play.
Nah, I don't know, man.
It's just in what kind of composition, because you've almost, at least, maybe you see like Cloudy play like wrecking ball, but like, it's like an outside shot. Let's see. Bay also combos great with Reinhardt. We talked about that a little bit today as well. You get a speed boost with the Reinhardt, you catch the Orisa out, you May Waller, and then the Reinhardt goes crazy, just swings into her, takes her out. So maybe Mirror will play the May, and then you'll get Birdring on like a Widow Ash combination. I mean, that's a pretty standard composition as well.
Does it feel like Ursa has just been hedged now, pigeonholed into being a May player for the Rain?
Like, trick, as bad as that is to say, like, it's really where we've seen him only, right? Like, we've seen him in spots, and it's really just been his May in certain situations. So maybe more of a specialty player now for the Atlanta Rain.
How interesting. Well, we'll see how that develops now as the rest of this Summer Showdown goes, because they get mixed up, of course, especially when hero pools dissipate in the last couple of weeks. And Big Goose got caught off from the rest of his team there, but no harm done. He's able to back away and then rejoin them. The real threat is Birdring lurking on the Widowmaker. Atlanta should be aware that there is a Widowmaker opposing them, even if they haven't spotted them yet, but Birdring's still looking to strike gold with his first couple of shots. Big Goose is down, so the Gladiators now a little bit stuck. They can move forward, but they can't really take the Rain by surprise. Every move they make is that much more telegraph without a speed boost.
Yeah, and losing the speed boost is huge there, because you want to try and create as much space as you can for Birdring, and that is with putting pressure on these players on the bridge. They got a nice Maywall from Mirror. They just weren't able to finish anyone off with it, but Cloudy takes out Urster. Maybe you can make this. You can make something out of this.
I think so. I mean, there was an immortality field for Urster, but he wasn't able to be under it from Master. I'm not sure what the setup was there. And now Birdring, now he decides to join the party. Comes in over the top and gets rid of Baby Bay. The headshot strikes out. And now the Gladiators here at point A with a decent amount of time. But, I mean, we had this long conversation on Blizzard World about having large time banks on attack. Remember, all that the Gladiators need to do is get one tick on point B with such a tremendous, to borrow some of Matthew Morello's lexicon, time bank. It should be okay.
Nothing really coming online like ASAP for the Atlanta Rain. You can get Cloudy into a good position, like behind the Orisa shield. Like the Shatter could be map winning. See if they're able to do that. Maybe a speed boost, jump over the right-hand wall. They want to force the action on the point as fast as possible.
Yeah, maybe a supercharger, Matt. Doesn't look like a heck of a lot to work with, though. All right, Holt gives the Rain some time. They see this coming now. Cloudy, I mean, charges into a wall, but he gets what he wanted. Oh, I know what he was trying to go for. Dogman, though, fantastic job. He holds a right click, and he hits the Rain as he comes around the corner. What's so crazy is that Cloudy lost the Shatter dying there. That is going to hurt.
As soon as you heard the voice line go off and you can see how much health he had, you knew how that was going to end. 'Cause now the kind of pendulum has swung in Atlanta's favor, right? Look at this. They have 6 ultimates online. The LA Gladiators use 2 big ones, Shatter and Gravitic Flux there. So now Atlanta gives themselves an ultimate advantage. Let's see how they use it. They extend this ultimate advantage over, like, 2-3 fights.
It feels like a mirror image of that extra time on Blizzard World a little bit now. This time it's the Atlanta Reign that have to hold out for a very large amount of time. We'll see. You talked about them, not having much online. 1 fight was all they needed to get to full strength with a complete collection of ultimates to spend, but they need to ration them cleverly. Gator's Supercharger is down. Sound Barrier for the Gladiators buys them a little bit of progress, but really doesn't help them get the edge in the fight. It's a trade. Cloudy's down, Matt, but so is Erster.
And they end up using their Blizzard here. Shaz is going to use his Ant Matrix, and this is a lost fight.
It's the boy! It's Dogman! You love to see some of that. Bork all the way to the bank, baby. Lorraine only used 3 of those ultimates. Yeah, the Blizzard's gone, in fairness. Both teams used it.
Yeah, but you still hold on to the Gravitic Flux, Transcendence, and Bob here for Atlanta Reign. Like, the Transcendence is massive to have here in case anything kind of goes sideways with an early pickoff. You still have the Gravitic Flux, which could end up just winning you the fight right at the start. Yep. So
it was all of the Gladiators' most powerful ultimates that got used there.
Yeah.
Blizzard, both support ults. Okay, let's see how they go now. Get hit with a bit of that dynamite, but Baby Bay is already ready to unleash Bob on the world. And we'll see a cheeky fire strike there that will give away the fact that the Gladiators want to press out of this little opening, which should surprise nobody. Safe distance for Baby Bay. He sees him playing in the moat now down below. A bit of extra damage, and Cloudy never got a chance to be held aloft by the Gravitic Flux.
Bob going to be used now by Baby Bay. Just get onto the point. Mirror with 2, and that's going to be both supports gone.
Balanced hero right there, ladies and gentlemen. Mirror's able to find 2 quick kills. Gator goes down now as well, and the Gladiators are starting to find some momentum. Hyperspheres for Hawk, find a crucial kill on the May, but is it already too late? Hawk's forced back, shield very low, goes to kinetic grasp, but now Birdring starts to inch his way forward, gets Baby Bay with the dynamite, and now that Immortality Field is down, crunch time here for the Atlanta Reign. They have to respond, but they get the Orisa back in play. The problem is, there's no Dogman there. The Batista's going to have to keep the Orisa healed up, and Cloudy takes a ton of damage. He's forced now to the low ground, but Mirror comes in on the Doomfist. He finds the burst damage. Gator's going to lose his Supercharger now, and the Sound Barrier keeps the Gladiators durable. So close, 1 tick's all they need. Hawks knocked back away from the point with a minute and 58 seconds left. They get it done. And the Gladiators had a ton of time, Bank. It was a fight that wasn't looking good at all, but Mirror pulls a rabbit out of the hat and gets a couple big kills on the May to start them rolling.
I believe they lose, like, Cloudy at the beginning of that fight, and you're like, oh man, they're going to have to back up, like, out of this. And then Mirror's able to get both supports and then stay alive, like, long enough to get some more damage down on a Hawk. Comes back on the Doomfist, able to get another kill. Huge clutches there from Beer to get the map win for the Gladiators.
No doubt about it. They are bouncing back now, but I smell a map 5 in the air, Matt. I really do. Yeah. Both of these teams seem to steamroll each other on maps where they look good. And so I really wouldn't expect to see the series decided in this next map at all. But let's talk about the inclusion. So Erster comes in, Matt.
Yep.
0 final blows. Big fat goose egg. Birdring has 18. And I'm pretty sure Mirror had 12. 0 final blows from Erster.
Yeah, not great. But what can you expect now when you see him just in Bay duty every once in a while?
Maybe get a couple.
I mean, obviously like a couple, but it's taking a player that we saw really play well and flourish last season, and with some of the additions, he kind of takes a back seat in terms of role on the team, and it's very difficult to just come in on the random and play, especially play a hero like Bay. So very difficult position or certain.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Some rough times here. I guess for the Reign, they'll need to bounce back from map number 4. Do they want to take it to a tiebreaker? Then they need to shine right on the other side of this break. Stay tuned. It is the Atlanta Reign going up against the Los Angeles Gladiators.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network, T-Mobile.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Overwatch League. And this series has probably been a bit of a nightmare for analysts, Matt. I think it's safe to say it is really hard to tell which of these teams is actually going to come out on top because it's back and forth, and it's just haymakers being thrown.
It's just pretty one-sided for both teams in certain aspects, right? Like, we don't really see like a super competitive map. It seems like it's just one team dominating the other, then we kind of go back and forth, back and forth. Junkertown is another map that honestly tends to give results like that as well, where teams can snowball another team rather quickly. Teams can get full held pretty easily as well. So Junkertown being the next map kind of lends itself to continue the chaos of what's going on in the series.
Yeah, great way to put it. It is just going to be chaos. These teams have been excelling on their own separate maps, though. I think that is fair to say. Do you feel like there is a world where we have like another Baby Bay Birdring Widowmaker match in this particular series? Obviously, last time we saw Junkertown being played, it was when Echo was available, and it was always Echo and Widowmaker. What's your take here?
I definitely think we'll see Widowmaker still. And if you remember, Baby Bay against the Florida Mayhem put up a pretty decent fight against BQB on the Widowmaker on this map. Just Yaki was able to just constantly get at him in the backline.
That's right. He was shut down by the Echo play.
Yeah, by the Echo. So we'll see Baby Bay probably pick up that Widowmaker yet again. Same with Birdring. And then with the substitution of Edison coming back in, you expect some Tracer play potentially here for the Atlanta Reign.
Yeah, Erster unfortunately comes in, plays May, gets a fat goose egg, and is sat back on the bench there. So, for fans of Erster, keep your head up as well. Obviously, remember, hero pools change, and we can only hope that the Reign will give Erster a little bit more responsibility going forward. It was nice to see him back in the roster. I think it was the first time since week 13. So, yes, Junkertown is going to be our final map. Expect to see maybe Widow Tracer comps from both of these teams. There's no reason why the hero pools aren't conducive to that. Obviously, Cloudy stays in here.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if you don't want to play Tracer, you could maybe play like double Sniper going way back. But still, I think Tracer's been proven to be pretty effective in a lot of different scenarios. So, Cloudy does stay in, like you mentioned. So, I assume more Reinhardt here for the LA Gladiators, which Reinhardt on this map, it's a little bit harder to close the gap between you and the opponents.
We'll see if he can. I mean, yeah, maybe we also see Goose play the Lucio. We saw the Gladiators try and work with the Lucio on the attacking side of Temple of Anubis. You remember Big Goose was picked off quite early on that fight, and well, we still know the Gladiators came out on top there, so it's an option.
What else can you say that Cloudy plays definitely better than OG? Like, I would definitely say OG is like the better Winston. I think probably I would go to say it, Orisa as well.
I think the Orisa is maybe slightly contentious.
Yeah.
I remember back on the Eternal that Cloudy did play a lot of Orisa. Remember, Ben Best was, if memory serves, not playing a ton of that, or Cloudy was being used for a lot of that Orisa play. But
that's true.
Yeah, Reinhardt. Okay, the Roadhog. So maybe a Roadhog here. We could be just getting debated. We'll look at the Reigns lineup though, and yeah, it's going to be Tracer Widow here. This should be quite exciting.
Yeah. Especially Mirror potentially running the Hanzo. This also could just be a spot check scenario where Sonic Arrow goes out, and then
bring
you try
back double Sniper.
See if anybody's playing close. So, yep, Mirror goes, and that's just a Sonic Arrow out. Now he'll play Tracer. So, this kind of takes us back to where we were map number 1 almost.
Well, if you remember how that one went down, it was the Gladiators, fueled by Birdring, hitting some fat shots, were able to take that one away. And he finds an early headshot. You notice that Baby Bay has more ult percent, though, so even though we haven't been watching Baby Bay, he's been doing damage. Early recall forced there by Edison, who ran straight into Birdring. It looks like he took a charged body shot.
They wanted that kill on Edison bad. You see how many players just started to just try and focus him down.
He's in trouble, Matt.
Yep.
Chased down by Space now, and I mean, you love being Birdring right now. He's not on screen, but he's in a safe spot with the rest of his front line, just taking up so much space. He'll be sitting back, and yeah, brutal. Birdring able to set that one up, but it was a nice little push forward. The Gladiators are using the Lucio, so maybe the Reinhardt makes a little bit more sense in that context. They want to get past Gator's Orisa barrier.
Like you mentioned, the Finns just chatting away in the chat. You have one Masa on the Atlanta Reign, and then the players of the Gladiators.
There's 4 of them, baby. That's what's going to be going on. And now they that first checkpoint. Gladiators pretty comfortable right now, and I mean, well, they haven't died at all, to be fair, but it was Birdering with 2 final blows and Space finding 2 crucially. Once
Baby over to May, sorry.
Is this a concession to the Widowmaker of Birdering?
It's not. What it really is a concession to is that the Reinhardt, like, I think they feel like the Reinhardt's just getting too much value. They're trying to slow this down a little bit. As the Reinhardt, because you know Cloudy is in to just play this Reinhardt type of brawly composition, so you have to try and stop it somehow. And at best, this probably forces you to have a Mei switch potentially from the Gladiators as well.
That's disgustingly messy fight there. I mean, there was 2 amplification matrices thrown up. I don't know if you saw that. And then Cloudy tries to charge through and forgets that he is on the wrong side of the enemy team's amplification matrix. So, yeah, switch up to McCree. All right, I mean, McCree, in theory, has strong matchups against both Mei and Tracer. But also doesn't like Sigma. Sigma kind of ruins him. So, we'll see what he gets done here.
Yeah, as a few players just staggered out here. For the Gladiators, it looks like Cloudy was still in a bad spot, and the same with Big Goose. So they'll get spawned in, then things will start to go again. But like you mentioned, I think the McCree is the answer here in terms of trying to deal with the Mei and the Tracer that they have. Well, I mean, now I like it better with a Mei of your own, right? This is much better, and now this is weird. So they move off of McCree, now they go Tracer. So
look at this ult economy loss.
It's a large loss in ult economy, but this is to try and get an advantage in terms of Mei wall, which maybe you may be able to do that. He gets blown up so fast there coming around the corner.
Man, it's so telegraphed what they're trying to do with the Reinhardt is to get him around and flank and go for a shadow. I mean, the Reign saw that coming a mile off.
And I wonder how much time we've seen Baby Bay, off the top of my head, play Mei in the Overwatch League. It's not much. So maybe you feel like in a Mei versus Mei matchup with a Reinhardt, you can get a good Mei wall and give yourself an advantage. Now we'll see Edison on the McCree, so he'll move away from Tracer, which I assume Birdring will eventually go and just mirror this. Outside of the tanks, obviously.
Yeah, I feel like you want to be the team with the McCree against the Tracer Mei. Cloudy taken down early on here. Shaz trying to make use of this amp matrix, and well, he's done a good job. Space also gets a ton of hypersphere value playing around the L-shaped area at the top of those stairs.
Poor Cloudy, he just has to run in and just get blown up. I mean, he gets hit with everything imaginable there. It just gets deleted, but the Gladiators, they win the fight and they keep the cart going. So last stage ever for Atlanta. Atlanta may not even really be able to make it back for a great fight with no Lucio. You see a few players get the really far spawn.
I think better of it, Matt. I think they've realized what you just said. Yeah,
they may just give it up. Yeah.
Well, the Reign still have a chance now to play fairly close to make it hard to get through this little choke. Once that door shuts and the card is on the other side of it, it gets a little bit annoying for attackers, especially if they're dealing with like a bunch of shields thrown in their way, which is what we're seeing. Okay, Mei wall to screen the Gladiators as they try and take the high ground and fight. I mean, that's ridiculous. Edison catches Mirror with a headshot immediately, and that will slow the Gladiators right the heck down.
It looks like they were trying to run down Hawk on the high ground and get a blizzard on him and take him out. But
how do you run down a Sigma? He has everything.
And even if you would have gotten the blizzard to go, like he just drops down from that high ground and you're able to heal him like underneath the platform, you would have had to drop down low.
He has kinetic grasp, so the only thing you can actually do to stun him is hit him with accretion, or I guess try and freeze him. Like there's, okay. I don't really, don't quite get that, but the Gladiators want the high ground and they want it bad. They want to deny that away from Edison. Make sure that a hit scan threat isn't free to just rain damage from above. Baby Bay sneaks in. He's gotten behind the shield and into the cookie jar. Gets the freeze on Cloudy, but he's low. Taken down. Cloudy finds him with a swing. Nice immortality filled there from Shaz, but Edison finds a 3-player flashbang and gets away with a kill on Big Goose.
Gets a few players stuck here in the hallway. The Atlanta Reign will be able to take this fight. So if you're the Gladiators, like when do you switch away from this? Like I think potentially you bring out a free of your own instead of Birdring. They'll bring out Ash. So another good answer is Ash can put a little bit more pressure on McCree at range here.
But again, she does require a decent vantage point because if she plays on the ground, then she's at more threats. There's no Tracer to harass her though, so there is that. Edison sees a wall, then a kinetic grasp, and has to let that ultimate go by the wayside. Trying to combine with a halt there, and that did look like it grabbed onto, I think, Birdring for a moment. Okay, where's this Gravitic Flux go? Goes into the tanks, but Gator shrugs it off with Fortify. Baby goes up, but Transcendence is there to meet him when he comes down, and Edison's already found the kill on Big Goose, and this is straight up not really working for the Gladiators right now. Shadow on 2, but look at that Immortality Field immediately thrown down. Great charge from Cloudy to get Baby out of the field, but it's a trade. Using a Shadow for a trade, and the Gladiators need to dig deeper. They need more from this engagement.
And look at how difficult it is for the Reinhardt here. Like, he has to get healed up, but he also knows that if he just sits there and doesn't apply pressure, he'll just eventually die, like, over time, from just excess damage. So they are able to get him out, trying to put Cloudy in a position where he can be successful. Maybe try and go with high ground, get a rush in. They want to get him in the fight as soon as possible. They don't want to have him just take unnecessary damage going in on the Orisa. That's why you see this big, long flank.
What is... Oh, what is this? How do you allow a Reinhardt just to walk in your backline and swat your Zenyatta?
I mean, that's what you want. Like, you want to use him as just like a battering ram. Like, don't even care about the tanky aspect of him.
They were not ready for that at all. The Rain had no idea what hit him. The speed boost again. When every other team is trying to play, Zenyatta Baptiste, having that speed boost to sneak a Reinhardt in, that is absurd.
And it's a nice boot from Big Goose there at the end, because Atlanta's all trying to flood out the left door and potentially get their own Blizzard onto the payload, but Big Goose knocks them back, uses the boot from the Lucio, a Blizzard as well from Mirror to slow them down just enough for the cart to go over the line. So a full map completion there from the Gladiators with 35 seconds on the clock.
Now, the last time we saw the Gladiators play a payload type map on defense, they were horrible. Absolutely awful. So bad, in fact, well, by comparison, let's just say, relatively speaking, that there was a record set against them on Blizzard 1. So we need, and this, Junkertown is ostensibly more snowbally because defenders don't have as good. I would argue that defenders don't have the high ground to use for as much of the second phase. Once the payload gets past this bridge, they're forced to sort of trickle out of small little doors here. I feel like this map is more snowbally
than Blizzard World. Yes,
I think against defenders.
So, yes, I would say it's snowbally both ways. Whether you get like a full held or you kind of have really strong offense. There's not another map in like professional Overwatch that's going to dictate it off of just like I don't want to say one hero, but really like Widowmaker kind of controlled this map for better or worse because it's so open. Baby is my favorite, man.
I didn't think I'd ever see the Cloudy Reinhardt in Junkertown on an actual serious game, he reckons. That's funny. That's a bit of a... Oh, what is that? Okay, they go upstairs. I thought they were using a Maywall to try and fight on the high ground. Maybe not.
I don't know if it was that... it was the Maywall knocked them up. Yeah, so they get the high ground there for a little bit. Dogman, though, takes out Big Goose. Just played really risky, just trying to knock players around. Ends up falling there.
It is very risky from... I mean, maybe if Goose gets rid of that field a bit earlier on, but it was a nice boop to deny the high ground, but there was always going to be the Baptiste available. Okay, Birdering. For some reason, Hawk's not interested in dealing with the Widow.
Nobody
He can't from that range. They can't. No one can, really, except the Tracer. And Birdering is in a position that Tracer cannot stand on unless she triple blinks from the enemy side of the map. And okay, fair enough, as you do.
Yeah, I mean... there would have been nothing good that came out of him lingering around there. So jump off the side, get with the rest of the team, have another fight here before the Atlanta Reign potentially
get infra sight as well.
Yep.
I mean, that's so huge for defenders pushing it. So now they know they're not pushing out into like really disadvantageous scenarios, right? I love that. Gives them peace of mind as they have to set up again on the fly while the attackers are rolling. Okay, Ant Matrix there on the low ground. Oh, there it is, Birdering, giving us some of the good stuff. Master almost getting taken there. Baby Bay trying to jump. He knows Birdering's looking for him. Eventually, he has to succumb. Still not the cleanest fight for the Gladiators, though. Birdering looked good, but the rest of the Gladiators were getting crunched in the close-up fight. Edison uses the recall to be able to catch Big Goose, and now, I mean, Birdering doesn't really have a safe way to peek this. He's going to peek straight into a halt and almost got accreted for his troubles.
I mean, he's going to, peek into 2 shields? I mean, maybe Cloudy gets a touch here. You have Mirror coming down as well. That'll be Gravitic Flux here from Hawk. Enough damage to take out a few players from the Gladiators. It should be the Reign taking the first point.
Yeah, I mean, the Immortality Field wasn't in a spot that could have saved space, I don't think. I think he was a little bit outside of it. And then Reinhardt you're never going to be happy as Reinhardt going up against a Sigma that's firing like that, especially dealing with Holt from a Orisa. It's just a pain.
You're never going to be happy as Reinhardt playing Junkertown on defense being barreled into a Zenyatta Orisa Sigma combo. I don't think that's too enjoyable either. But no, that's the style that the Gladiators want to play, the brawly type of play style, which has been successful this far.
Relatively. I don't think it's going to help them stop a snowball as defenders, though, right? I think like things just get worse for them if they can't stabilize.
You see what they have to do to be effective, right? They have to kind of wait, take odd angles, and get Cloudy in a position where, you know, he's not walking down a few, 100 Orisa shots to get to the point.
It doesn't take long to get rid of that Rhine shield as well. Like, it just does not last against this composition. So the Gladiators are playing on hard mode right now. They're not making it easier for themselves. Right, Flux is there. Space now coming over the top. He has no shield, but that is really okay. Oh, he's just outside the immortality field as well.
He's going to be triggered.
Yeah, Baby Bay already trying to talk some smack about the Cloudy Reinhardt, but he's not wrong. It's not looking very good right now. And the Rain cruising through this map pretty darn quickly. I mean, playing the Reinhardt here when you could be playing the Orisa with like Zenyatta.
It's also why some of the substitutions like this are risky when you know one player is in for one specific type of role and competition that you want to play around. Where the Atlanta Reign, I mean, everybody knows that Cloudy's coming in to play Reinhardt. They don't want to switch off of the Reinhardt, so it gives you an ample time to adjust how you're going to play against it.
Oh, yeah, it's such a cursed call.
It's better now with May in. So May gives the extra, like, brawliness, survivability. As you see Cloudy just come darting up the stairs there for Berger's POV.
Doesn't care. He knows he has his immortality field, so he's just going to keep swinging. Close to another shatter. Sound barrier now. Oh, man. Okay, I like this. So
it's good. Yeah. They need control of the choke. This is where the Reinhardt will be the most effective.
I think we can both agree, right, that having a Reinhardt that's supported, being able to walk past an enemy Orisa barrier and just like take all that zone away, it feels good, right? Now they can play close. But if they have to walk at you, it's just awful.
And that's the issue on this map, is you need control of these small chokes because there is so much area to walk and kind of close the gap.
Oh, yeah, Cloudy's closing the gap, bro. He's right up there, isn't he? Okay, this could be nasty now because the Gladiators have to play close together. They're susceptible to, Gravitic Flux. Spacer birding it down. Cloudy charges to his untimely demise. And once more, the Gladiators composition gets stopped in its tracks. And now, this gets a bit awkward. Look where the payload is.
Yeah, but you're not, it's not horrible, though, to give that one up. Like, 2 minutes and, a little bit over 2 minutes and 50 seconds on the clock, you'll end up having your Gravitic Flux and your Shatter here for potentially this last-ditch scenario.
Cloudy from the top rope, thinking about it. Gets rid of the Bongo, and then what? Takes all of his health and damage and almost drops down. Gets a Shatter on one player. Transcendence was there.
Nice Transcendence.
Nice response. That was very, very good from Dogman there. And the Gladiators composition kind of gets exposed a little bit there when they have to cross large amounts of ground. It gets difficult.
I get it for Anubis. Like, maybe this map you could have put in OG for, though. Like, I think Anubis, it actually worked really well because the map tends itself to favor a more brawly type of style. Junkertown doesn't really scream that to me.
No. Now, there is obviously a significant difference in time back between these two teams, but the nature of the map of Junkertown means that, I mean, that is a deficit that can disappear very fast if the Gladiators get a really good defense. Remember, they are trying to play a very close up Rhine-based defense, and we've seen where it struggles now on the longer sight lines that this map tends to provide. And I think the Gladiators are trying to they're trying to make up for their weaker long-range, long sightline comp by having Widow. And you can kind of see how that works, right?
Yeah.
Birdering gets kills because he has so much space because his Reinhardt is off in Timbuktu, but the Atlanta Reign, I think, will feel pretty comfortable now about the fact that Cloudy has to walk all the way to them on attack.
Yeah, and we'll see if the Gladiators try and change up any of their attack. Bringing in Moira and a 76 would be an interesting look, as that is a very close quarter composition. No challenge for the Widowmaker, but Atlanta's not playing the Widow. They're going to be playing Ashe here, so we'll see if the LA Gladiators, do they Miro, probably Sonic, check, maybe a switch to Tracer yet again. Yep.
So this is where we get to see maybe if the comp is just bad or it's really execution dependent, right? You see what Cloudy has to do. He has to take these incredibly circuitous routes just to get close enough to the enemy team without exposing himself with line of sight. He's done it, though.
I would
like,
actually
credit.
say that it's not even the execution of the composition. I would just say like the map doesn't tend itself to favor that, as Birdring headshot there on the Baby Bang. As I mentioned it, like Junkertown, all you need is your Widow to start popping off to get an advantage, but you lose it as Edison takes him out.
All right, yeah, Edison is eventually able to get in there. There's only so long the Birdring could evade him for. Cloudy swings hammer. All right, Edison low. He's actually taken down. So the Gladiators actually make some progress here, crucially. So they're going to be in overtime once they pretty much get to the end of this area. Baby Bay. There's no Lucio here for the Rain. I don't know if they can actually touch it all.
Any progress from A to B is just such a massive win for the Gladiators. Like, if you're able to get any type of meaningful progress here through this second phase of the map, like, it goes from one where Atlanta's heavily favorited to incredibly winnable here for the Gladiators.
We are really seeing these two comps, the differences unfold as this map goes. I think had the Rain been bringing a Lucio, they probably could have actually had another fight there, but they only got one. Edison sticks, doesn't find a kill, Space takes him down. Nice field again. This time Shaz brings that one on in. Baby Bay, the Hybrid Spears get dunked on Space from downtown. And now the Rain are in a really compromising spot. And importantly, Matt, Cloudy doesn't have to go on this ridiculous flank and try and shatter up the stairs to win the fight.
And Atlanta thought that fight was a guaranteed win with that pulse bomb connecting. It's just a great immortality field, just perfect reaction there from Shaz. And this is so good for the Gladiators. You keep it going. Sound barrier here online for the Gravitic Flux. You're going to have the Shatter if you can get behind the shield. And look at this. They're going to set up for it.
I don't think
they're not even challenging. You don't have the Lucio.
Okay, they're not bothering. So, okay, the Gladiators, this doesn't hurt them setting up for something that's not actually going to happen. But, I mean, look at this. Their lack of Lucio and the composition is exposing them now. They only got one fight on this part of the map, just one. That's ridiculous. And they may even have less going into the second part. Cloudy drops down. He kind of has to because of the Gravitic Flux there. And Supercharger used by Gator. The Rain are trying to use all their ultimates here, but they've let the Gladiators take so much ground, and they're giving him more. Gator finds Cloudy, and now it has to be a Transcendence, and the Rain are using all of their ultimates, and this has to work now as a result of that. Dogman getting pressured down. Space finds Hawk, and Birdring and Mirror still at large. Mirror trying to stay scarce, should I say, as Tracer finds Dogman before going down, and Edison saves it with a double pulse bomb. My God!
Still really good for the Gladiators.
I mean, the immobility of a composition that doesn't feature Lucio really got shown there.
As the Gladiators really bounce back and make that composition work. A lot of doubt of it going into the overtime here, but man, really strong performance from the Gladiators. Really nice plays from Shaz, like constantly with that immortality field at the right time, being able to save Cloudy and others, and really turning the tides in those fights. Now you give yourself a chance, right? 3 minutes essentially on the clock for the Atlanta Rain. A few good picks from Birdring if you decide to play the Widowmaker here. It could be the difference of winning the game.
But put it this way, the Atlanta Rain had one fight on that first part of the map as defenders. They had one fight on the second part of the map as defenders. That is it. Their third fight, they finally got a win, but they gave up that second checkpoint. The Gladiators will have two fights.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Gladiators.
In each phase.
Yeah, they can play. They can play close up by the spawn again. Burn like what, 30 seconds here, 40 seconds. Then get another fight. You burn another 20, 30 seconds. Like at that point, we're like under a minute. We just hit checkpoint B, so you have enough time here to make it work if you're the Gladiators.
And they'll have two fights on checkpoint B on that second phase of the map at least as well. So they're getting literally 2 bites of the apple here with the Lucio.
And because it probably has to make it a little bit through that door where the payload was, you see where the golden box of victory is. He may have another one there because that takes a while for all of that to happen.
All right, Immortality Field used awful early, but Gator's already gone down. So Edison needs to find just a pick here. Just one would be enough. Edison. All right, there it is. Shaz is down. Immortality Field was removed. It's a trade, though, and the Gladiators will just try and keep as many players present as they possibly can. Space's shield is going to be called on to do most of the lifting here, and it's not really enough. Not against an Orisa composition anyway, so it's a play forward. Stagger on card. Birdring finds 2 kills. Oh my God! Birdring! 3 kills, and I won't slow the Rain down much, but God, is it pretty to look at.
Oh, I wanted to go type in the game chat and just spam that as the Birdring just coming down for the high ground just takes Dogman's head off. 3 kills there. It'll slow down the Atlanta Rain like a half second, right? You know, I have his players coming back now, but Cloudy and Co. get back to the cart. You'll get another fight here for the Gladiators, which is big.
That's so rude. That's incredible. They used the Maywall to boost up, and they were out of sight until Baby Bay checked over the lip, over the edge, and he saw what was coming for him. Great way to get rid of the Ash here. Much more space now being given to Birdring. Let's see if he can shine with that. Space is getting his hands awful dirty here. He's going to be looking for Dogman, and it gets him, and we have already seen 90 seconds burn. Half of the time bank that was left for the rain has gone.
And now coming into this next fight is Birdring sends a parting gift to Baby Bay as he's just trying to run away with his life. You'll have Walls, you'll have Blizzard, you have Gravitic Flex, such a large chest of ultimates to work from here. If you're the Gladiators, you've really turned the tides on this map and given yourself a great opportunity to win it in the series.
I said earlier in this series that this was an analyst's nightmare. I'm actually very sorry to say that. I was very wrong, because this map has been so fascinating for exactly that reason. The composition these teams are going for. Birdring finds Master. Now it's going to have to be a Transcendence here for Dogman. Birdring needs another. That Blizzard isn't going to get much done, and that card is going towards the goal. Okay, Birdring needs to drop off the edge here or find some kills, try and stall with his body or something, because the Rain have gotten the checkpoint. Now they have 45 seconds to get pretty much through this stage.
Do you have changes for the Gladiators that come in? I was going to say, you probably bring in Ash or McCree. They go with Ash. Baby Bay will switch to McCree for some more medium range action here. The Shatter is massive. You can get Cloudy in a position where he can actually land a meaningful Shatter. You have the sound barrier to back it up too. The Gladiators also probably want to take an early fight because you have the speed boost to get back in for one more.
That's right, and that will put the Rain in overtime there. Maybe they force some ultimates while they're doing that already. Edison's Pulse Bomb doesn't get anything. Cloudy, easy Cloudy. He's pushing up now. Gravitic Flux, he actually dodges it. Oh, tries to go for a Hero Shatter. He doesn't find what he was looking for now, but it's a trade. A 2 for 2, but Baby Bay on the McCree now springs forward. He gets rid of Birdring. Space has found Dogman now, but it's just the Sigma on the card. Oh, big goose from the top rope. Comes in. Baby Bay's down, and now that buys enough time for the rest of the Gladiators to get there.
Space as well.
Unbelievable stuff. Now the Wrecking Ball has to be used. Gator needs to get into position, but Edison is down. It's just Master and Gator right now, and the Gladiators have time.
How is Space still alive? They finally deal with him. As Gator comes back on the Wrecking Ball. Yes.
Gator low, very low. Mirror chases him. Recall, and they're forced off the cards. The Gladiators get it done. What an incredible map and series. And the way that it ended, you cannot ask for much more than that. Well, I'm going to get evicted from my apartment for the volume of my voice over the last couple of minutes, but that was incredibly tense and incredibly hype gameplay.
Wow, what a second half of the series for the Gladiators. They bring in Cloudy, and they play really aggressive in these Reinhardt rush comps, and they're able to get a win on Anubis, and they're able to get a win on Junkertown using it. Man, what an end to the series. The Gladiators played phenomenal today. I know, although they do give up a large time to the Atlanta Rain on Blizzard World. If you kind of erase that from your memory, the Gladiators played really strong throughout this series against a very tough Atlanta team.
That was astonishing. The series, it looked very one-sided for either way after the first few maps. Right, the team that won the map did it in a bit of a landslide, but this is a very different story. And bear in mind, the Gladiators were playing that composition for pretty much the entire map, and they were behind to start with. It's just quite astonishing how they managed to identify or to recognize that, okay, our comp is really weak if our Reinhardt has to stand in the open for a long period of time. The shield won't last. We can't get anything done. What are the strengths of Reinhardt? Well, decent mobility, great crowd control.
Damage.
If we can get him into position. If we get him where we need him, he's better than an Orisa 9 times out of 10. So the use of the Lucio, and who better to have on that pick than Big Goose, getting him in position. And yeah, Cloudy died a lot of times. Make no mistake. It was a weird shatter miss towards the end there, but combined with Birdring, making use of all the space that a very far forward Reinhardt gets you, allows him to pop off.
Yeah, it also allows them to put a little bit more pressure on with their Tracer there on Junkertown, right? Like if you using the speed boost, a lot of the times where we went to the little free cam or the Big Goose and there were players around him, it was always him and 2 others. It was always Cloudy and then Mirror or Birdring, whoever was playing the Tracer at the time. Really nice use of that composition there from the Gladiators. And Orthodox won on Junkertown specifically to get a win.
ridiculous stuff then. You can see the look of dismay, I think, on Dogman's face as he was the closest to the cart. But remember, I mean, Batiste doesn't have horizontal mobility at all. Like, he couldn't speed himself up.
Don't give it to him either. We don't need more horizontal mobility.
Yeah, I think we're good. I mean, a great little dive there at the end by Miro, I think, able to pick off the Wrecking Ball. But really, that's what you love to see, right? These, like, 2v2s to decide the round. It's much easier to follow and it hinges much more on individual prowess. And Matt, speaking of individual prowess here, I think it's pretty easy to present our player of the match presented by Xfinity to none other than Birdring. Pretty incredible performance, especially on the Widowmaker across the series. Big difference maker there in that last map. He is looking better than ever.
A lot of strong performances for the Gladiators today, but specifically we wanted to highlight Birdring. He's a player that a lot of people had completely written off. I mean, this is somebody that almost you were kind of like, oh, well, he's in the league because of just what he's done in the past and like the name, right? Where you were kind of worried like, oh, maybe he doesn't live up to that kind of hype anymore. But this season, he's been tremendous for the Gladiators. A real nice story of a player making a really great comeback. And today he had a great series against a very tough damage-dealing duo. And then you throw Ursa in for a map. They're 3 damage dealers for the Atlanta Reign.
Yeah, I think now for the Gladiators, this win takes them to 500. And I don't think you could ask for like a better start to the month than this, right? The thing is that, let's be honest, Matt, there were maps in this series where they looked pretty sloppy. There was a lot of scrappy play. Yeah. There's a ton that they want to tighten up. But I have to say, like, I don't think there's any team other than the Gladiators where the coaching influence is more apparent, right? When we get to see these like really interesting tailored compositions and then get to see them executed, and we get to discover the idea behind them sometimes by sitting and watching. So it's clear they've got some real, powerful engines in the brain room over there, and they're able to give us some really interesting play.
Yeah, and they have a match coming up next week against the Houston Outlaws, the Gladiators. So they're trying to set themselves up, in this 3-match sprint till the playoffs to potentially get one of the higher seeds in North America, right? You think you would definitely favor them over the Outlaws from what you've seen today. And then Atlanta next week, like, they don't catch an easy break, where Atlanta plays the Toronto Defiant, where Toronto usually plays everybody pretty tough. So Atlanta going to have to bounce back.
And there it is. That was your player of the match presented by Xfinity. And of course, the final moments of that round are quite exciting, right? That's one of those real clutch moments where individuals have to come to the fore. And you saw Cloudy walking up to the cart there and just kind of getting boomed as Reinhard has to against this kind of setup there. But a really impressive play. I love the Lucio boot that came on in there. And those moments are, when you separate the champions from just your good teams. So very good sign for the Gladiators going forward. I think they have a lot of fans who are used to, supporting a team that's very up and down, but this is a great start.
It could be a big turnaround, this Summer Showdown for them. Like I mentioned, you have a game against the Outlaws coming up, and then their final game of the set would be against the Washington Justice. So 2 winnable games coming up for the Gladiators, where they could find themselves very well in the top 4 in NA.
And there you have it. That's enough from us for now. Let's hear from the victor. We're going to get a few words from Birdring with Reinforce.
Thank you so much, Mitch. Yes, I'm joined here by Birdring from the LA Gladiators, as well as his translator, Andrew. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Quick question first about this week going up against the Atlanta Reign. How did the LA Gladiators prepare with this hero pool in mind?
저희가 이번 주 히로풀 보고 아틀란타 상대로 어떤 전략을 준비했나요?
일단은 저희가 다른 팀과는 다르게 라인을 이용해서 좀 뭔가 창의적인 플레이를 클라우디의 창의적인 플레이를 기반으로 좀 뭔가 저희만의 플레이 스타일을 만들어낸 것 같아요.
Okay, so unlike other teams, we decided to use Ryan with Cloudy because he's really creative when he plays Ryan. So we decided to utilize that against Atlanta this week.
So a follow-up question to that: what difference does that make for Birdring playing with Cloudy? Is it a big difference compared to OG?
그럼 이제 OG랑 할 때랑 그 클라우디랑 할 때랑 좀 차이점이 뭔가 좀 큰가요? 어떤가요?
사실 일단 클라우디의 라인 자체가 워낙 클라우디의 개인 선수의 뭐랄까 피지컬 이해도 같은 게 굉장히 높기 때문에 그 점에서 좀 많이 차이가 조금 있는 것 같아요.
그러니까 버드링 개인적으로 어떻게 바뀌는 게 뭔가요? 버드링 개인적인 플레이에서.
뭔가 맞아. 일단 클라우디는 자리 먹는 싸움을 좀 자리 먹는 걸 잘해서 거기에 있어서 제가 좀 딜링하기 좀 편한 것 같아요.
Okay, so Cloudy has really good personal mechanics, and a really good understanding of the hero. So that allows him Cloudy to get positioned better. So that allows Burgeoning to get easier angles on doing damage.
Yeah, that makes sense. Making a lot of space as Reinhardt, been there myself, so I completely understand. This week, playing against the Atlanta Reign, they are sort of known for their damage players. Can Birdring explain a bit, how was it like playing against Baby Bay and Edison on the enemy team?
그 아틀란타 선수들 중에 딜러드 선수들이 되게 잘하는 선수들이 많은데 그 상대할 때 어땠나요 오늘?
I don't know about Baby Bay, but Edison is good though. Yeah, I think it was very well.
There you have it. On a bit more of a personal note, of course, going into this season, you were questioned, Birdring, a little bit, coming off your time on the London Spitfire. How has it been adjusting to the LA Gladiators, and how have they helped you improve as a player in the league?
그래서 이번 시즌에 글래디로 왔는데 적응하는데 어땠고, 그리고 글래디 선수들이나 코치들이 버드링을 또 좋은 선수로 만들어주는데 어떻게 도움을 주고 있나요?
일단은 뭐 제가 안 좋은 플레이나 그런 걸 할 때 이제 코치들이 많이 도와주는 편이고, 일단 선수들이 모두 이제 친화력이 좋다 보니까 처음 적응할 때 굉장히 편했고요. 그리고 뭐 그냥 그렇게 지내다 보니까 뭐 영어도 조금씩 늘고 하고 뭐 좋은 것 같아요.
Okay, so whenever Birdring makes a mistake or doesn't play well, the coaches make sure they correct that and help him improve. And all the players are really friendly, so he had really easy time getting adjusted to everyone, the team. And it's been a while since he moved in, so naturally he just learned English and stuff like that. So it's been really good so far.
Yeah, I'm impressed, being able to answer questions in interviews, we appreciate that. So good things all around. Talking about the LA Gladiators' performance this season, it has been a bit up and down. They had that loss to the Boston Uprising, but now you looked pretty good. You looked pretty good against Philadelphia in the May Melee tournament. I thought so anyway. And now with a win against the Atlanta Reign, how are the LA Gladiators going to improve to become a top team towards the end of this season?
저희가 이번 시즌에 좀 롤러코스터가 좀 심했는데 이제 잘하다가 못하다가 보스한테도 지고 그랬는데 근데 최근에는 이제 린포스가 말하기에 그 메이 먼슬리에서도 필리에 상대로 잘했고 오늘도 아틀란타 상대로 잘했는데 저희가 이제 그 최상위 팀이 되려면 저희가 어떻게 하면 될까요?
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Recently, we doing good in Scream, so maybe just take time. We're better and better. That's it.
Okay. Yeah. Absolutely. Practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Birdring, for the answers. I'm really happy as well. You answered some in English. It's always fun to hear. And thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Andrew, as well for the great translation. Very much appreciate that. So that's going to be it for the matches here today on the Overwatch League. But of course, we have the Watchpoint Post Show coming up right after this. So stay tuned. And we got the Watchpoint Post Show with me, Zoe, and Costa.